What's up and good morning, guys. Welcome back to another video. Welcome to part 2 of the long-awaited, well, at least for me, and long-anticipated fencing off project of my entire house. I'm starting off this morning though on a little bit of a bad note. We've been augering all the holes on this side of the property and we knew this was going to be the hard side. I mean, there's some pretty freaking hard dirt here, and there's a couple of giant boulders that are buried underneath them. Well, we found a few of those and we were only able to go down like that far, so we're gonna have to probably put some post bases, epoxy them into the boulder, do something, I'm not sure yet. So we already had to replace the teeth once just on this side alone, and then we slipped a track on the 299, which is that's the last thing you want to do. They're an absolute pain in the butt to put on it. So I'm gonna try to stack some wood back here and pick up the machine. Hopefully that's how this works. I think I've seen James do it this way. She ain't no fun on this hill and I didn't want to go further and make it worse. Yeah. Took the auger off because I couldn't like lift the front with the auger properly, and
I'll put a bunch underneath this backside right here.
Okay.
Since there's no bucket on here, let's we'll try and just put it under this side right here. You don't want this on your video.
Nah, I already talked about it. It's all good. So the fun thing about changing these tracks out is, first of all, you have to make a giant mess because the way that these things are tensioned is through a grease fitting, and it fills up and pushes this, whatever, that roller forward and tightens the tracks. Well, to get the tracks back on, you got to loosen that roller, which means you got to squeeze out a bunch of grease.
The good news is it's not like completely off. So I think we're only gonna have to squeeze out like a little bit, just to relieve a little bit of pressure up here. Then we can get the top end.
Now, I'm not the most environmental friendly guy in the world. However, if there's any type of regulation that should force the company to come up with something better, I feel like this should be it. Like, the fact that you gotta just dump a ton of grease out on the ground. I mean, I guess technically you could not dump it on the ground, but it's a messy thing. Come on, Caterpillar, do better. Care about the world. Come up with a better system than this. I mean, I guess that's every brand, but whatever.
Actually, ASV has a big old bolt mechanism right here.
Well, that sounds nice. Come on, ASV, sell that technology to Cat. These are newer tracks, right? Yeah. That's why I didn't want to go any further and like even try to go on flat ground.
I appreciate that. I had one customer one time, just kept going, didn't realize it destroyed the whole ring right here because the sprocket was just like,
yeah. Oh, nice.
Missed that. Like,
she's under a little tension.
A little bit. A little bit of pressure on that.
So that's what we're working with right there. Horrible for the environment, but we're gonna contain that with a straw wattle and some other stuff.
We're gonna properly dispose of it as well.
Silt fence, metal fireproof container to put it in. Know when you're ready. Go ahead, Rules.
All right. Top one's on.
Oh, okay.
Turn to the right a little. Oh, we're there. Don't move.
Roger that. See, guys, that's why you call the professionals. You know, I didn't want to bug James today. I wanted to try it on my own, but 4 hours later in 90-degree heat, it's probably better we just call James.
I don't know that I'm a pro though. It's cooking oil right there.
There you go. Like at least a hose, you know, that like it dumps it outside of that whole assembly.
I mean, I'm sure there's like a $3,000 tool that like
fair
hooks up to that.
Track is back on. Now I got to tension it. Put another whole tube of grease in this dang thing.
Yep, it's empty.
Okay, y'all, the sun is shining. It is a new day. Yesterday, a huge thank you to James for getting this track put back on. I've got Abel and Poppy helping me get the auger bit back on, and we're gonna pop the last couple of holes here. And then we need to go up near the animal stalls, do where we're gonna do our little 90-degree turn, and then we have to go behind the guest house, and we still haven't even laid that part out yet. We are ready, fresh new day. It's not 1,000,000 degrees yet, so let's try to get as much done as we can before it heats up. It is insane just how hard the dirt is on this side. I mean, it is like one stage away from being formed into a rock by the earth, however that works. Dinosaurs, pressure diamonds, blood diamonds, I don't know. Look at this, y'all. We are behind the guest house doing our last stretch, other than we still have to do in front, like actually coming into the main driveway area. But I think we might do some block work, maybe some columns. I haven't decided yet. However, finally found some soft dirt that we can auger these holes in like all of, I don't know, 10, 15 seconds. I feel like this is what the rest of the country gets to enjoy when they're augering. Oh yeah, look at that. That is nice. Look at it, just right down in, super easy. And we're done. Y'all, Abel just saved my life. I carried this 4x4 over, and then he's like, hey, be careful of the spider. And I've been seeing a lot of webs, and I'm like, oh, you mean like these webs? And he's like, no, the spider. Look at this monster. Black widow. Yikes. Oh no, sí, tiene.
Sí.
Oh, shit.
No, dice allá abajo. Down.
Now that we've got all of the holes dug, we're gonna put our corner posts in, similar to what we did on the other side. We'll put this one in, we'll put the one all the way over there, and then I'll pick my middle point where I kind of want the break to happen, because obviously we can't run a perfectly straight line to that side because the center here is like it's a little hump, so it kind of rolls. So the fence would end up being like 2 foot short in the middle if we try to do that. So instead we're gonna go up the hill in a nice straight line. We'll have that center post, that'll be our breaking point, and then we'll die into that last corner post. So now that we've got our line running all the way down to where she's gonna go, we're gonna find our low spot. As we come down the line here, she's gonna shrink. We are currently 31.25. What are we right here? Well, 32, we start going back up. Only right here, 33. All right, so it's looking like right in here is our low spot. Let's check the other side just to make sure. We are 30.5, okay. And back to 33. So this booger is going to be the one that is gonna be our breaking point. And again, all that means is we're gonna set this to 3'6", which is our height, and then we'll have now a straight shot that way and a straight shot that way. Again, not level, because obviously we'd have to bring that way up to get this to be level, but it's straight. It's not gonna just follow the terrain of the holes, and we adjust the posts to the line once we have this in place. Now you can see the height difference that we are going for this center post, and we're just gonna tape this on right where we want it. Again, there's no tension on this line because the two side or corner posts, end posts, whatever we're gonna call them, are holding all the tension, so we're just barely moving it over into where we want it, so the tape will hold it just fine. We are cruising right along this side. I'll show you guys where we were not able to dig. And that is right here. I mean, I got all of maybe 4 inches down, if that, and that's really only in that direct center. It just would not go through these two holes. These ones were a little bit shallow. They're probably about 8 inches less than I wanted them depth-wise, so we're just cutting the 4x to match. These, I think I'm gonna put a retrofit post base on and then epoxy them into the boulder. This is the boulder that is in question. She is a monster, and she starts here, goes God knows where, but we definitely hit her from there to over there. It's kind of one of the reasons I didn't want to try to put the fence in down here, because we'd have been in trouble. We'd probably had a lot more that we would not be able to auger out because of that thing. But so far, we're looking good. Nice and straight. Well, pop around in the way, but nice and straight. Abel's going ahead of me, and he is cutting all of the 4x to basically the right size, because sometimes a 6 foot 4x works out. Sometimes it's a little bit long, depending on how far the auger went down. I painted a mark on the auger, but you know, you're plus or minus an inch or two sometimes when looking at that mark. This is what we're fighting with in nature. Abel walked over and he's like, what the hell? I cleaned that out. And clearly you can see all of the dirt piled up here. So apparently some squirrel came popping out from a side, and I was like, oh sweet, I've got a place now to dump all of my dirt. I'm gonna fill this hole in from some side hole somewhere, and he almost filled that whole thing back up. You can see how deep these things are. That thing's filled pretty much all the way back up. I hate squirrels. I hate anything that burrows and destroys stuff. Now, today was supposed to be a little bit cooler by like a degree or two from when we were working yesterday and the day before, but it has in fact just turned out to be a hotter day. HYPERLITE and Chava are getting the last little bits of posts on the front section, and then on behind the guest house, this is our new section we're running here. The tenants are happy because we're gonna be getting rid of the ghetto little temporary fencing I put in to keep the animals from eating my tops of my king palms, even though they still managed to get just to the edge of that one. And that's the really ghetto fence. It's just some scaffolding and some like horse stall plywood. Yeah, that's pretty ghetto. That needs to go. We're gonna have gates everywhere, right? I mean, I don't want to be locked out of the property or have to like go all the way around to get to a little section over here. Only problem with this side is I want a 16-foot gate because we have larger vehicles that are gonna come through here. I mean, you can even see with the 6.0 there, that opening's not very big by the time you put a gate here. But this area slopes up a little bit, and I don't think I'll be able to swing this way. It might actually, without hitting this tree. I'm not 100% sure. Either way, if I gotta swing the gate that way, I'll hog out some of the dirt so the gate can swing open. It won't be able to swing all the way open. It'll hit the chicken coop, but it is what it is. I picked up a bunch of 6x6s, and I'm not a fan of working with pressure treated because it looks like crap. I know it's meant for what we're doing, but it just doesn't look good. I mean, these were the best ones they had, and they look like doo-doo, and they are monstrously heavy. This thing probably weighs 120 pounds. We got 3 of them. I forgot I needed a 4th one, but whatever. And then they come like this. Like, who's doing this? Who's doing this? That side's going in the ground. Now, for this section, it slopes down to the block wall for the guest house, but I don't really want to do that. So I think we're actually just going to go level there, and we'll adjust the dirt down below so there's no gap underneath, or put another board. And then here, just a gentle slope up to meet that fence. No ponle mucho.
Mucho?
Ponle más, pero necesito, cuando ponle la línea posible de 4x4, maybe necesito twist or straight. Cuando ellos ponle de esquina. Now we're going to be setting our 6x6s, which will have again the gate hinging off of it. Oh, sorry about. We're just using some sacks of concrete. We always mix first before putting it in the post holes, but I don't feel like doing that today. It's 1,000,000 degrees, so I'm going to pour it in dry like every other fence guy, and see how it works. They advertise you can do it. I've never been a believer in it. I mean, I know it's better than dirt.
What it says to do on the bag.
It is what it says to do on the bag. If my gate fails, we know why. And just like that, this side is all nice and set. I did screw up though. I should have made that 4x taller so we can level across, because the yard does slope down a little bit when we put the gate in. However, we actually want, you can kind of see how it ramps up a little bit. That is a big drainage swell that runs all the way through here. So we want that side to be up a little bit. So actually, if I came in later with the Mini X and kind of hogged this out to make it level, it actually would probably be beneficial water-wise for the runoff. So not too worried about that. We'll adjust the dirt and then we can lower the gate on this side if need be. We are finally ready to start putting in our horizontal boards. Oh man, it is such a brutal day today. And obviously, you know, the guys work till 3:30. And then normally me, Papa Rhino, Joe, we've been staying later, but we have a birthday we have to go to. So pretty much 3:30, we're all calling it quits today. I don't know how far we're gonna get. We got an hour and a half to start putting horizontals up. I don't anticipate we're gonna get very far. We have to like get back in the groove. The other day, like we started cooking towards the end of the day and we were really making some progress. Then Abel is digging a hole right there. You can see at the bottom. Basically we're gonna put one 4x4 up to the height from that side. That way we can run a horizontal all the way across. Because if we just stopped it at the edge of the retaining wall, the animals would still be able to walk around and jump down into the yard once we have the gate going across. So again, we still haven't figured out what we're gonna do there, whether it's a block wall, whether it's fencing again, but there will be a big gate right here that leads you into, I guess, the main driveway. I don't know. There's so many driveways and roads and gates and all that stuff on the property. Now the method to our madness, and sorry for the jackhammer, it's a little bit loud, but they're going through and they're putting in the top rail ahead of me. And then I come in with my jig and it just hangs off the top rail. It's got all of my spacing perfectly and it holds all of my boards in place. Now when I'm at the saw, I cut one angle, which is this side, to the angle that we've already predetermined, which is like a 2-degree angle. It's not much. It's enough though, if you don't cut it, you're gonna see like an 1/8 inch gap everywhere and it's just gonna look like crap. However, it does slow this process down by having that 2-degree angle, but we are going up a slope. So I'll cut that one angle and I'll let all these other ones run wild or run long. So really we want to split this 4x4 in half. That way we have enough meat for this board to get screwed on and the other one, just like we have up here. Don't mind that cut, it's not great. So I put these all in place and then I come in from our center mark. I plumb down, 1 second here, while I plumb down. It's really hard to do with one hand, so I apologize. And then I'll mark each board at this exact line. Take them all over to the saw, cut all 3, slap them into place. I'll just put 1 screw in and then we come back at the end and we screw it all off. But I can usually keep up with those guys over there doing 3 boards to their 1. And I gotta make sure it's back to the saw. Papa Rhino's over here using a circ saw again. He's just cutting a 2-degree angle into it. It's like an 1/8 off of one side to flush on the other side. It's not much. Cue the time lapse though, because I can't do this while holding the camera. Me and Abel have a pretty good system down. And again, there's probably a much more better mathematical way of figuring out these cuts, but I like my joints tight. And so while I could probably pull a measurement and go, you know, short end to long end and play that game, chances are it would be off a little bit. So it takes a little bit longer to put them in place and actually mark where I want my cut. But you can see my joints are just a lot tighter. And I'm sure, you know, this fence is gonna move, it's gonna shrink, it's gonna do all kinds of stuff because it's just 2x4 fence. You know, I don't know what finish we're gonna put on it. Probably paint it white. It does look very good natural, but we'll probably end up painting white. Oh, sorry. We're leaving the saw over here in the shade and having Able to help me truck everything back and forth makes it a little bit easier. And it's nicer to cut in the shade. You get at least like a few seconds of shade. Our system's been working pretty good. I mean, we're close to catching up to those guys. We definitely would catch up with them if it wasn't the end of the day. I'll just sit you guys right there for a second. The new GoPro head mount that I bought, they redesigned it and it sucks. Gives you a headache, miserable to try and keep on. So I gotta try to track down one of the old styles for videos like this where I need both hands. I'm also trying to get rid of this half moon forehead tan that I always get anytime I'm out in the sun. So I just keep sliding that hat back a little further, a little further. Everybody's gonna say, Rhino, why don't you just not wear a hat? Or why don't you wear your hat forward? I hate wearing hats forward. Number one, I look dumb. Maybe not to the hillbillies that think, you know, a real man only wears his hat forward, but to me, I feel like I look pretty dumb. And then I have to wear a hat because of my very long hair. Even when it's tied up, it still ends up in your face when you're working. And no, I'm not gonna cut it. All right, so again, we cut one side, we pre-cut all of them, and then we lay them out, and then we set them in place. I come plumb down, mark all my cuts, run over on the saw, we cut them all, drop them all in place. These jigs have been freaking awesome. It just makes life super, super easy. And for right now, I'm only putting one screw in. We'll come back later once everything's in place, and we'll screw it all off. But that can all be done solo. Got to do all the heavier work while I actually have some help out here, so I can come back in any time and put all these screws in. Things are looking good. Things are looking good. It's about the end of the day, and I think we did pretty good today. Being hotter and being that this side there was like pretty much no shade other than that one little section that we did. Everybody you just work slower when it's this hot out. It is what it is. Abel's finishing up digging where that 4x is gonna go. And then again, for everybody's confusion, this area is gonna get closed off. I saw on my last video that I posted, there's a lot of confusion on won't the animals just walk into the front. Don't think I decided to fence off 3/4 of my property thinking that was gonna do anything without fully closing it off. A little insulted that people would think that I wouldn't think that through. Oh, thank you. We're gonna finish out the day by giving Big Walt some scratches. Oh man, there's that dang peacock again. What's up, buddy? You good? I'll make you a sandy spot on the other side, man. I'm sorry. I know we're gonna take, oh, yep. Oh, scared of the truck, scared of the truck. Now, this morning we were taking a little break from fence building. And of course, it's like a cooler day. Yesterday it was 98 degrees. It was rough out here. But we need to go help Papa Rhino out on one of his jobs. He's got a bunch of broken block and some concrete that needs to get hauled out. So I'm gonna use my Diamond C dump trailer and go haul that for him because he's been doing a ton of work over here helping me out on this fence build. And then hopefully I can get back in time to probably solo some part of this fence and just see how far I get. We'll get backed up to the Diamond C. It's nice having a backup camera on this thing, even though I had no clue that the Blapunkt, whatever that is. I had never heard of this brand. Apparently, you know, you guys from the 90s said it was like a big thing. A lot of OEM manufacturers use it as like the upgraded version, whereas now they use like Bose in GMs or the B&O sound system in Ford. No clue. I was not driving in the 90s, so I had no idea. What I do know is hydraulic tongue jacks. That's where it's at. Went around doing my pre-trip. Again, this front tire has just a little tiny slow leak, so I've been filling it up pretty much every time that I take this truck. The truck does sit here for a day or two. I've been on that same 18-volt battery, the Milwaukee 18-volt inflator, and it's been filling this thing up from like 30 PSI to 65, probably 20 times now on that same one battery. Huge upgrade from the 12-volt. I own the 12-volt as well, and that's great for like bicycle tires or maybe like Honda Civic tires, but if you're doing truck stuff, definitely get yourself the 18-volt. It is worth its weight in gold. $165 for 30 gallons. And don't worry, effective today, California added another 4 cents of sales tax because we weren't, well actually we're second highest taxes on fuel. So, you know, we gotta we're trying to get to first. Oh, fuel is ridiculous here. We are back in the most expensive, one of the most expensive parts of Southern California. And we've got the narrow, windy roads. Let's see where we're going on the old GPS. If you ever want ideas for gates and driveways and entrances though, there's nothing short of that out here. There's some pretty elaborate, crazy ones. I feel like the Rhino Ranch entrance would rival some of the ones out here. If you know, when we get it finished. And for everybody that asks, because every video it's inevitable, we are still waiting on paperwork from the county. Also, in this neck of the woods, property tax on some of these houses has got to be over $100,000 a year, easily. And the roads suck over here. Like, this is the nicest portion of the roads, and they aren't good. That's a good thing they, you know, added another 4 cents to the fuel tax. That'll really help this. I'll give you a quick little rundown on what the guys are doing over here without showing the house address, but you can see big, beautiful house. And you'll notice next to Papa Rhino's truck, this giant tree stump and all this mulch that is everywhere in the yard. So there was a big tree here and it fell all the way across the driveway. And if you'll notice, there's this little arched entryway right here. Well, arched, radiused, whatever you want to call it. The other side was matching and the tree fell and completely destroyed that side of the block wall. So Papa Rhino went ahead and rebuilt it. They are stuccoing it now, pretty much all finished up, and then I guess it'll get painted to match. But we're gonna help out by just hauling out all of the broken block and concrete from the old wall that the tree destroyed. Big old eucalyptus trees around here that are freaking massive. And I mean, I guess a bunch of fell. There's a bunch of stacked wood over there on that property. We've got the strobes going on the Diamond C because we're kind of blocking the road a little bit. We'll get all of this loaded up real quick. This would be the ideal situation for a walk behind skid steer. One day, it's on my list of equipment to buy. Alrighty, we are all nice and loaded up. We're gonna use the Diamond C, super easy tarp system here. Don't even take 2 people anymore. Just one hand cranks it, puts it down. And we have successfully made it to the dump. The service light did come on the Ford again, and a lot of you guys let me know that that is usually a sign that the oil cooler is plugged up. And obviously we've had oil temp issues in this thing in the past. It's probably time that we swap out or upgrade the oil cooler. Ugh, that's not a cheap one, but I need this truck. We're now waiting behind this guy. Let me tell you guys, if you guys are ever doing this for a living or you want to start dump hauling, I mean, granted, like most guys, you got to start with a pickup truck and then you work your way up. But as soon as you can get to a dump trailer, even a cheap one, do it. Because there's no fun in doing what we did today where we load it all by hand and then you got to get to the dump and then you got to unload it all by hand. Like this guy, I mean, he's got a lot of stuff in there, big old mattresses and all that, which he had to load by hand. And then now he's got to unload by hand. So you're double the work. So if you guys want to ever start junk hauling or doing construction or whatever, like as quickly as you can get to a dump trailer, even used, one of those smaller, lighter, whatever ones, do it. What am I waiting for? Oh, there's somebody on the scales taking forever. Now, while this place is great and convenient and the pricing can't be beat, they've got over probably $1 million, $2 million worth of equipment, probably more than that around here. All branded cat stuff, Volvo, whatever, might be leased. One scale, so you have to wait. One guy comes out, gets weighed, one guy goes in, gets weighed. You got plenty of room right there, double stack scales. And then when I come in, where I dump the concretes over here, which I'm not in the line to get back in the scale, so I have to come through here, go forward, back all the way up that way, to then get back on the scale. All right, this time it's not gonna be cheap because of the little bit of like ground mulch that just got scraped up at the end. The guy's like, oh no, it's trash load. Yeah, you know, there's a bunch of plants and stuff mixed in. I'm like, nah, bro, it's the last little bit on top. And normally, we hide stuff like that. And I know everybody's gonna say, oh, that's unethical. No, because there's barely any in there. Like I'm talking like maybe 2 or 3 shovels full mixed in. Not enough to get them to throw this load away, but they're gonna complain about it. So if you ever see us like cutting off little bits of rebar, this is why. So now it's double the cost of what it would be to dump just regular concrete, which it's all clean concrete. They told me it was a trash load because there's a little bit of shit mixed in, so. None of that's here. We're gonna have a little bit of a battle on our hands now. So I went over to the trash section. This guy says trash, and the trash guys are like, they're freaking out. I knew they would, right? Because whatever machine shreds up the trash ain't gonna want to shred up this. But now the guy's like, oh no, go dump it in the concrete pile. I'm like, well, f that. If I'm dumping it in the concrete pile, I better get charged for concrete because that's gonna go into the shredder the same way, or into the concrete grinder, right? Like, that's crazy. They ain't separating this. This is going straight in. This is just their way to try to charge double. So again, you can see all these guys are, this guy's got a U-Haul trailer, but they got broken concrete. They're having to unload by hand. It's all about efficiency, guys. As soon as you can afford the equipment, buy the equipment. It's just, it's worth the money. At least we got a good tarp system, you know? And we're much quicker now. I don't know if we're gonna get that door open. That big old bucket in the way. Let's see. Whoa, just barely cleared. Again, speed and efficiency. Quicker we can get in and get out, the better. Now, the only thing I'm waiting for is the wireless remote. Once they release that for this trailer, I can already be going up as I'm opening the doors and doing all that stuff, and we'll be even quicker in and out. And back down we go. This new hydraulic pump, I mean, it is insanely quicker than the old one on my 2022 Diamond C. Now we get to go argue because there's their crusher right there. And I can see the amount of stuff that's mixed into that thing. They're gonna put it right into that thing. It's gonna eat it up just fine. Look at it, you can see how clean we are. We just got that tiny little bit right there. The rest is all block. And look at that. We are pulled in, dumped, cleaned out, ready to go. And the guys that were here before us, already almost unloaded, are still here. Well, they did not want to budge. I had to make one more stop on my way to pick up some surface retardant, which is what we have in the back here. Papa Ryan's got a concrete pour tomorrow, and he had to stay in stucco on that job. He wasn't gonna have time to pick it up before the supply house closed, so I went and picked this up for him, which means we're not gonna have time to get back to the house and actually work on the fence. So this top cast stuff is super, super expensive. But this is what we use to get the sand finished concrete, which we've used on all of my houses so far. It's my favorite finished concrete because there's zero maintenance once it's done, unlike stamped concrete. So with that though, we're gonna have to wrap up this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not subscribed already, please click the subscribe button now that you don't miss out on any future content. Don't forget to give this video a like, a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out workfortapparel.com. If there's anything you want in this life, just like you saw in this video, you gotta have a trust fund and never work and whatever else people say that, you know, I do and other YouTubers. Y'all are the best. I'm out.
Damn.